The world's an ugly place, dry as a bone, with gas and water, the planet's most precious commodities. Everyone's miserable, rage fills the air, the landscape's a lunar sandbox, and life's not pretty, even for a lizard.
My name is Max.
Particularly this lizard.
And blood.
Tom Hardy takes over Mel Gibson's original role of Max, a man with a dark past and a hunted present. Oh, and don't think that muscle car is going to do him much good. You see, his blood is needed, so he's dragged back, shaved, tattooed, and hooked up to an IV to become a human blood bag. Before you know it, he's on the move, but not by his own accord. Jacob Tamuri is Hardy's stunt double. The first section of the film, you're essentially a blood bag.
Right.
You're strapped to the front of this car, and you got this face mask on. You're like this, and you're just zipping through the desert. How much of that was you actually on the front of the car?
It was me doing about 30 miles an hour and you doing 60. so it was a bit of both. You spent a month on it doing the mop-up, didn't we? And we had to keep moving forward.
What does that feel like, being strapped to the front of a car, zipping through the desert?
It's at first, you think this would not roll, but
it's an unusual situation to be in, though, isn't it? Really,
it is.
It's not normal.
No.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
That's Nicholas Hoult as one of the film's army of cranky Mr. Cleans. You get the one choice line. I think it's like, "What a lovely day," isn't that it?
Oh yeah. What a day!
You have to say that, don't you?
I do.
That's the byline of this entire film, isn't it? I see it on the posters. I see it everywhere.
Yeah, strangely, I don't think that was the plan when we were saying that line. I was shooting that. I think it's just become a thing, which is cool.
Now, Mad Max Fury Road has to be one of the funkiest films I have seen come down the pike in a long time. And a lot of that funk comes from these crazy costumes. And I gotta tell you, it's no wonder why these guys are mad, because these things, well, they aren't exactly built for comfort. Tell me about your look. Your look is a sort of anemic, emaciated, bald, white. There's no sense of tan hair whatsoever.
No. Yeah, not getting a tan in the desert was one of the main jobs outside of work.
You want to get through this? Do as I say.
Yes, the desert. In Mad Max Fury Road, the orange sands of Namibia are a character in the film, yet when added to those leathers and faceplates, they took a toll on one and all in this tale of a renegade played by Charlize Theron, who absconds with a truckload of valuables and crosses paths with Max, himself a man on the run. It's sandy, it's dusty, it's hot.
Freezing.
It was freezing.
It was freezing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never knew how much colder you get when you have no hair. I wore a lot of hats, yeah.
I didn't even think about that. And you probably get sunburned right to the roots, right?
Yeah, so I didn't have a problem with that, but I got, my head would get so, because all the heat just kind of escapes through. And that was sometimes we have to take your robe off to do a scene. You're like, oh, it's so cold. And I had that, whenever I had to take my beanie off, I was like, oh my God, it's so cold.
It is by my hand!
Director George Miller helmed the previous 3 Mad Max films and is back, reluctantly at first, for number 4.
Having made 3 Mad Max movies, the last thing I wanted to do was another, but the idea came into my head and it wouldn't go away, and eventually I got on the ride. And you're right, you have to think about it. 30 years have gone by and everything's changed. The world's changed, the cinema has changed, I've changed.
Where is she taking them?
Yet while he may have changed in the past 3 decades, Miller's not exactly jumping on to today's digital trickery bandwagon.
We did it old school. Real vehicles, real people, real desert. So there's no CG, there's no flying human beings or spacecraft, so it makes sense. So you're going to crash a car, you better crash 2 real cars.
Now as for Theron's ride, well, it was 18 wheels of pure muscle, and she's just fine with that. So you spent a lot of time in this truck. Were you actually driving this truck at times?
Yeah.
It's huge.
We called it the War Rig. And I drove the War Rig and could drive the War Rig, and you know, it's just all in the preparation, getting there a little bit in advance. But I'm very comfortable driving trucks and things like that. My parents were in road construction, so I grew up with big trucks and rollers and graders and things like that around.
Mad Max Fury Road is pretty much one big fat, furiously fast chase scene from top to bottom, and it begins this weekend at a theater near you.